Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Rick Roll. Alright, I got a little bit of a project I want to do. This is something that's kind of been bouncing around in my head for a couple weeks, ever since basically I went out and bought the plants that I put in the planter in the front yard. There was a little issue I was concerned about when I was loading everything up onto the trailer, and today I want to deal with that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This, as most of you know, is my trailer. I used my bonus money a year and a half ago from work to get it because I wanted the ability to haul stuff home from Home Depot that just didn't really fit in a car. And I know the more Texas thing to do would have been to go out and buy a pickup truck, but I like the good gas mileage I get with my little Honda, and I wanted the ability just to be able to haul lumber or plywood or large items or lots of items all at once. And I decided to get this trailer, and it's been a really good thing to have. I've used it a bunch of times, saved myself some money with it, so the thing's almost paid for itself to begin with. And I just want to help make it a little bit more useful at this point. One of the concerns I had when I was loading some of the plants into the trailer was that there isn't really a side all the way around it, and I was concerned some of the little plants might come tumbling out of the side or even go out the front here if I stop too quickly. And that was a bit of a concern. So I arranged the plants in such a way so all the bigger ones are on the outside. But today I want to come up with a solution to maybe prevent that from happening again. So what I want to do is go out and get some pieces of 2x6, because it turns out that the gap between the deck and the top of the wall there is 6 inches. So, if I go out and get some 2x6s, I ought to be able to go all the way around the outside of this thing and block off that hole and make the thing a little bit more secure so little things don't tumble out. I don't want to drill into any of the framework, because anything I do with the framework is going to undermine the strength of it, and I want this thing to continue to be a useful and worthy tool for many years to come. So I've come up with another idea, and like I said, what I want to do is just put a row of 2x6 all the way around the outside of this, and that's going to involve a trip to Home Depot. You know how much I hate that. So I was getting ready to go to Home Depot, and it looks like I got a little lizard battle going on here in the backyard. Check this out. Yeah, but it started on the other side of the fence, and I just saw a tail flipping around. I was like, what's going on here? Never know what you're going to find in Texas. They both got their crests up to make themselves look more intimidating. Got my own little dragon battle going on here. And we may have a winner. One appears to have backed down. Let you know if there's a rematch. Alright, so I'm back from Home Depot. I got my 2x6s. I also got some lag bolts that are going to connect them together. Basically, the dimensions of the trailer is it's 8 feet front to back and 5 foot side to side. So I got 3 10-foot long pieces of 2x6. I'm going to cut 2 feet off of each one of two of them and run them front to back. And then I'm going to cut the third one in half and have it go side to side on this side and side to side on that side. Now I'm going to do a little bit something inventive there to hold the shape, but allow me to remove it, so if I need to, you know, drive something onto the trailer or something, I can do that. But the corners here are going to be lag bolted together, and if I get my dimensions just right, this should work out really good. So I think that the first piece I want to put into place is the piece that's going to go in the front here. And since the side to side from this side here to the equal side on the other side is exactly 5 feet, I'm going to take one of these 10-foot pieces and I'm going to cut it in half. And to do that, I'm going to use my handy dandy miter saw. My miter as well, right? Ugh. So there you go, there's the first piece that's been put into place. It's basically just a 5-foot long chunk of 2x6, and it fits perfectly into the hole. Now I'm going to run side pieces over here to the back and over there to the back. So I'm going to cut these two off at about 2 feet off the end, because that should run the whole length of the trailer then. Alright, so I got the two side pieces basically cut to length and inserted in place. This one's warped a little bit, but I think we'll be able to deal with that gradually over time, because one of the things I noticed about this lumber when I got it is incredibly fresh lumber. It's probably only been cut in the last couple days because it was so damp. This stuff is heavy. You know, normally a piece of 2x6 would maybe weigh, you know, 10 or 12 pounds. These probably weigh 40 pounds a piece. So there's an awful lot of moisture in there, and if we can get this all nice and flat as the moisture kind of removes itself, the walls will kind of hug the wall of the trailer, and that's sort of what we want. We want to get the maximum of space without losing too much to the lumber. So I think what we're going to do, like I said, is I'm going to attach the side pieces to the front pieces using my lag bolts, and then we'll use a couple of my wood clamps to, I think, attach the wood to the side of the trailer, so that when I move it back outside again, it will kind of, like I said, dry flat, and then those clamps won't be needed anymore. Okay, now I've got the side pieces inserted into place, and I've put the lag bolts on to connect the side pieces to the front pieces on both sides. Driven home with a socket set so we get all the torque and drive it down all the way we could. I've actually put a couple of clamps on either side of this, because ultimately I want the wood to dry off flat. And I told you about that a few minutes ago, but that's how I'm going to achieve that. Now the final piece I want to put in is this piece here. And this piece isn't going to actually be bolted into place. That's kind of the beauty of this whole thing, is this piece I want to be in a slot, and I want to be able to just lift that thing out. So its only purpose is going to be to hold the two outside edges up flush against the wall. And since it won't be bolted into place, it'll just be tension that's holding the thing in there. I got to cut this piece here to length so that it exactly fills in the gap between that wall and this wall. And like I said, I'm going to put some maybe little pieces of framing something in there that I can you know, line up against, and just slide it into a little slot and pull it out when I need to. So that's going to be the other end of this thing, and that starts by cutting this piece to length. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Alright, so I've basically finished the back half now. What I did is I cut this piece to the length from there to there, and I created a couple little notches here, and on the other side. And what I can do then is take this piece of lumber here, this 2x6, and bear with me, I'm doing it with one hand because I got to hold the camera with the other. And they can just fit in the two slots. And if you drop them in right, there we go. And if you drop them in right, then there you go. We've got basically this piece now is kind of locked into place, and it keeps the back halves from flipping around, because without this in here and without the clamps hold it together, these pieces here could fold in on both sides. So like I said, this will keep it all secure, and keep the sides on the sides, which is what we want, and yet can easily be removed if I need to haul plywood or something like that, because the trailer is exactly 8 feet long, and I've stolen about 2 inches from the piece there, and probably another 4 inches back here. So if I ever want to haul hot plywood, I'm definitely going to have to pull this piece off. But At this point, I can bring plants home and not be concerned about the plants falling out the side, and that's sort of an important thing. There's a whole bunch of other things now I could do. I could actually haul large amounts of dirt just in a raw form almost, except for the fact that it would go through the cracks there. But I could put a lot of stuff in here now that maybe couldn't have been done before because of the possibility of it scooting out the sides. So this was a good move. It cost me all of $30 to do, and I think this will add a lot of usefulness to the trailer. Now, I do want to water seal this at some point, but I want to give the wood a little bit of time to dry, and if I water seal it now, I'm going to lock all that moisture in there for forever. So I'm going to put this thing out in the sun for maybe a week or so, let the wood dry out really well, and we'll leave those clamps on there so that the wood dries flat against the side of the trailer, and I think that'll be good. And then we can pick up and water seal this at a later date. So anyway, there we go. That's the end of our project. Pretty simple, huh? I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.